there, I'm Jeanette Lane for Simply Cards and Papercraft, and in today's video I'm sharing how to make a colorful and Christmassy background for your cards using Distress Oxides. And I'm going to be using the Scenic Nativity die set included in Simply Cards and Papercraft issue 184. Here's a close-up look at the card that I'm making, and I'm really happy with how it turned out because I did blend two Distress Oxide colors together, but I got such a great color range and also sort of an inky, watercolory sort of effect, which I'm going to show you how to do in just a bit. It's super easy. Okay, let's get inky. To start off my card, I have a piece of white cardstock that's sized to 4 inches by 6 inches. I have my Distress Oxides and a latex glove because they stain your hands. Something fierce. So I have my little not mini ink blending tools. I usually use mini ink blending tools when it comes to distress inks, but with my oxides I use smoothie blender sponges. So I have them in, I think there was some ribbon in here and I just used the packaging to transport them, but also if I'm feeling lazy and I don't want to wash my sponges right away, I don't want to get ink on everything, so what I do is I just store them in these plastic little packaging bags, and just keeps everything nice and clean. So to start off, I'm going to, let's start off with the broken china. So we'll start off with the blue color first. So here's my smoothie blender, and I'm just going to pick up some ink, dab off the excess on my mat, and I'm going to start blending that color. I want to say right about here, not quite halfway. And we're just going to blend some of that color onto our cardstock in small circular motions. Distress Oxide inks are a hybrid ink, so it's a pigment dye ink, and what's great is that gives you really vibrant, striking colors every time, and it also makes them really easy to blend. Now the reason I'm not blending that Distress Oxide broken china all the way down to the bottom of my cardstock, that's because I'm going to be layering a die cut on top and it's going to cover that area anyway. But if you're creating a different kind of project, then you can definitely just keep blending that broken china all the way down. So I'm going to switch colors now. So I'm going to grab the Wilted Violet and my other smoothie blender. Here we go. And then I have a piece of scrappy cardstock here, and this is so that I can hold this down without inking my fingers up. So same thing, I'm going to pick up some of that color with my smoothie blender, tap off that excess, and then start blending in circular motions, blend that color onto my cardstock. As I'm blending my Wilted Violet over my broken china color, I'm getting almost like a violet blue color in between, and that's really my favorite part about blending Distress Oxides is you get some really surprising colors coming out as you blend. I'm happy with the Wilted Violet, and I'm going to switch back to broken china. So you've seen me holding down my white cardstock with this scrappy blue piece of cardstock here, but be careful if you're doing this to protect your fingers from getting inky. Be careful that you are not blending over the scrappy piece of cardstock because it is going to give you a really harsh line. So just be mindful as you're blending. Keep that scrappy cardstock away from your blend. I'm done with my blending, and it's time to put my little smoothie blenders back in their safe plastic where they're not going to get anything inky. And let me move those out of the way, and I can move my distress inks off to the side. And now it's time to continue building up my inky background. Now you may recognize this Driving Home for Christmas gift set from Simply Cards and Papercraft. This is from a previous issue, so I wanted to use this because I absolutely love this set, but I really love snowfall stamps, like snowfall texture stamps. So I'm going to grab this one in here because it's fantastic, and I'm going to mount that onto my stamp block. And I'm going to be using this ink, which is Eyes Ink pigment in silver metal. So what I'm going to do now is just start stamping this snowfall across my background. Here's what my background looks like thus far. So you can see where I stamped my snowfall stamp. Oh, I absolutely love it. It feels so wintry. This was a really easy background to make, and you can leave it as is and move on to the next steps, but I wanted to add some more sparkle. So I'm gonna be using the Spectrum Noir Sparkle Glitter Brush Pens. Now, these are really fun, and I discovered that when you put these over the Distress Oxide inks and also the Pigment Eyes inks, they give you a really, almost like a watercolored background. I really loved the effect of the Spectrum Noir Sparkle pens reacting to the Distress Oxides. I don't know, there was just something magical about it. It's even softened the Snowfall stamp. So what you do is you just squeeze a little bit from the tip of your pen. So I'm just squeezing there, and maybe you saw that glitter sparkle come out, and we're just going to brush this in circular strokes across my blending. Notice that I didn't go all the way to the top with my brush pen. I wanted to retain some of that Distressed Oxide in Wilted Violet. I really love the purple, and also the Silver Snowfall on top. Now the sparkle brush did pick up some of the Broken China and Wilted Violet, but I just have this scrappy piece of paper and I brushed the color off really easily, and now it's back to clear glitter. Here's what my background looks like after these Spectrum Noir Sparkle brush pens, and I love how it gives it sort of a watercolored effect, but it's very sparkly. Here's another colorful blended background that I made using the same technique. Now it's time to do some die cutting. So here is the Scenic Nativity die set. It is all discombobulated. It does not come like this, I apologize. When you get your Scenic Nativity set, the dies come in one piece, and then you have to snip them apart. So they are all over the place now. But what I'm gonna do is, here is a piece of sparkly silver cardstock that I have, and I'm gonna place my die at the top, right about there. So don't go over, make sure it's lined up right at the top of the cardstock that you're cutting. And then I'm going to run this through my die cutting machine. So here is our die. What I'm going to do is just snip off this excess here. So I'm going to trim on the right and on the left. And then we have that nice edge there, our little scene, our nativity scene, and I can glue that on top and then trim off this excess. For my adhesive, I'm using Cosmic Shimmer Dries Clear Glue, so I'm just putting some glue at the back here. And I'm gonna center this right about there. And then once that's dry, I'm gonna just take my scissors and trim off this excess. I wanted to create a frame for my card, and so I took some blue cardstock and used some nesting rectangle dies that I had to create this frame, and then that's going to go right about there. So I'm going to have to trim off this excess in just a bit. But before I move on to gluing my frame down onto my card, I'm going to be stamping my sentiment onto some vellum. So again, I'm going back to the Driving Home for Christmas set included in a previous issue of Simply Cards and Papercraft, and I'm grabbing this sentiment down here which says Christmas is coming, and here is my piece of vellum, and this is just a scrappy piece, so I'm going to trim it up in just a bit. And to stamp, my ink I'm going to be using is Archival ink in, I think it's Jet Black. Yes, sorry, I thought that was Tuxedo Black, but no, that's a different brand. Okay, so I've got my Archival ink, and I'm inking up my stamp, and I'm just going to stamp my vellum. Now, Archival ink is a great ink to use on vellum. It dries quickly, and it doesn't smudge once it's dry. So here is my vellum. I've trimmed off the excess, and now I have a little sentiment strip, and I'm going to add that, I want to say right about there. So in between my frame and my background, and let me trim this on the left before I glue it down. So I'm just going to trim off this piece here. And now I can glue my sentiment down to my card and also add my frame on top. My sentiment is glued down, and so is my frame, so now I can trim off this excess. It's time to mount my card front to my card base. So here I have a card blank that I've made from some purple cardstock, and I'm just gonna glue this right on top with my adhesive. Same one I've been using. You've probably seen this in tons of my videos. And again, the adhesive is Cosmic Shimmer Dries Clear Glue, or also you can search it under Cosmic Shimmer Acrylic Glue. I wanted to add some more sparkle to my card, so I have these beautiful self-adhesive gemstones. So I'm just going to peel some off and put them here and there throughout my card. I'm going to put one right over the vellum to secure it in place. And then maybe down here, closer to Joseph, maybe one above, to the left of Mary. And then we have some smaller ones here that I can put throughout. And I'm done with my card. Don't forget to pick up Simply Cards and Paper Craft issue 184, and you can get this beautiful scenic nativity set of 4 dies so that you can make some beautiful and quick scenic cards. I'm Jeanette Lane for Simply Cards and Paper Craft, and I'll see you in a video really soon. Thank you so much for watching.